Well, it's me, Darren, again. I haven't made a video in quite a while, so I thought I'd come out here and make a video. A little bit of changes to the garage. I got quite a bit going on. I'm just going to give you a little visual tour of the garage first. Been using it quite often for almost everything I do. I've been putting a lot of work into my Cutlass. I have a 1970 old Cutlass Supreme. Been doing a lot of things. It had a hitch on it. I took it off. Was welded up real nice. Whoever knew how to weld sure know how to weld that bumper on there. Had to split those seams, get that all taken care of. Been doing a little bit of restoration. Here's the Cutlass. Let me back up and give you a peek at it. I painted it charcoal gray metallic. Has not been cut and buffed. Been all, I'd say about 3-4 months since it's been painted, and it has not been cut and buffed. I did cut that fender a little bit and buffed it back out, but I just wanted to see what it would look like. 2 spots of chrome missing on the entire car that I can tell. The glove box, there's a knob, which is plastic chrome. I'm not counting that as an exterior chrome piece, but see that damaged chrome? $147 for a new one. I didn't know if I wanted to spend $147 on that. It looks like I'm going to have to eventually, but they're still pretty common. You know, yeah, it's got a little blemish right there. The bumper's rusty. I have taken a wired wheel to get most of the rust off, but it left the chrome in a really bad shape. I don't know if you can see from the video how bad it really is, but it looks like somebody towed it from that spot right there. Put the old rims on there. I'll put some light on. There's the, I believe those came out in '71, which would not be original to the car. But the good news is, after I took the hitch off the back side of it, I dropped the fuel tank because the sending unit wasn't registering. So I repaired the sending unit, but as I dropped the gas tank, there was a mat between the gas tank and the underbelly of the car. There was a mat, and I lifted up the mat, and lo and behold, let me show you what I found. I found this. I found this, and if you can see, which you can't really, but if you can see that, that is the original build sheet. Everything from the frame, the strength of the knuckle, the front spring specifications, the alternator pulley, type of radiator, the wheels. As you can see, the wheels say just MA on it, which is, I would imagine, mag, but there, the original color of the car was green. Yeah, I doubt if you can pick all this up in there, but it was made in Fremont, California. But I am so glad that I found this build sheet. I looked under the back seat, didn't find it, and this one was wedged between, like I said, the fuel tank, and there was a mat on top of the fuel tank, and it's in pretty bad shape, but it's still readable for all the options and stuff, which is what I like. I'll get it pressed and put into a something so it doesn't decay any farther. But wow, what a find, huh? Now back to the car. I still got a cracked windshield. Got to replace that. Got to replace the chrome here on the front. Do a lot of buffing and painting and that type of thing. The interior, the car was originally green. Had a white rag top, actually called a halo top, because there was a trim ring that came in to about here that ran around and down. If you look, you can see some body work where the trim ring used to be. Or somebody, well, I took the ring off, but somebody had peeled the top of it all off. The car came out really good as far as painting wise. The interior, not so much, but like I said, the light on is. I noticed from the build sheet it had a wooden steering wheel. That's the sport steering wheel. Gas gauge now does work. Also fixed the gen light. Somebody had replaced the alternator with one that has an internal rectifier instead of the external rectifier, and didn't hook the wiring harness back up. Meant the gen light wanted to stay on, the generator light. Well, I found out where to connect that, and I put it back in the charging system, and bingo, it actually all works right. There's the ashtray. I have the door that isn't broken, but I don't have the spring or anything. The glove box needs a lock mechanism hatch on it. The thing needs a carpet, period. It is all dark green. The car was originally dark green metallic. Here's the back seats. They're very weathered on the top. Split there, split there. Down at the bottom, there's a couple of tears. Split there, split there, split there. The original seats I don't think can be saved, but we'll see. At least they can be used as a pattern. Like I said, all green. One thing I did do is I made that package straight. It's not entirely right. If it's not entirely right, it's not glued down properly. I used vinyl adhesive, which is not the thing to use for that. Takes about a day to set up. Well, I already had it in the car, and the speakers mounted and everything within a day's time. But I didn't glue down the front edge. If you can see, the front edge is springy because I didn't. That actually gets pulled down tight and glued under behind the seat, and I didn't have the proper glue. I wasn't going to use vinyl glue for that. I need some dome covers. Well, the courtesy lamp covers in the back. Need a cover for the dome on the top. I tried repairing this. It wants to keep falling down, but when I did, and I popped it out of here, the end actually spins on its own, which it shouldn't. So until I repair that, it's got a piece of tape on there to help hold that up, and it doesn't want to stay. Missing the original radio. There's the tunes I put in it. Got a, I think, a 700 watt amp in the back. Got two 12-inch Pioneer subs and those 6x9s. Those was on sale at Walmart. They really could be a little bit better. Like I said, the interior is actually in fairly good shape for being a 1970. You know, that's very rusty. What do they call that? The drop pillar. Very rusty, but goes along with the rest of the car. As you can see, over the years, there's rust built up in there from leaks. So when I get the crack fixed, which would be a new windshield, I'll pull that windshield out and redo that metal strip across here and get that all back. I know these cars are worth a lot more if they're all original. That's why I was glad to find that build sheet. This car is going to be metallic green. The build sheet specified a white vinyl top. I don't know if I'm going to put that halo back on it or not. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Probably a good idea considering the dents and the lumps down the top. Looks like somebody just beat on it with their fist. Got it all painted. There's the bumpers. Bumpers scratched. Lots of rust. Lots of wear. 1970. Remember what year is this? 70 to 2013. It's 30, 40, 43 years old. I've been totally through the entire car underneath. Well, I can't say entirely. The next thing is the brakes that I need to do. I've redone almost everything under the hood. Had some issues with the PH400 transmission that's in it. Fixed those, corrected those. Had trouble with leaking oil. They had mainly gasket, oil pump, or oil pan gasket. Fixed that. Let me kick this hood open here in just a second. It has a 455 cubic inch engine in it. The AC is not hooked up. I'm going to think that compressor pump is crap because it's not going to accept 1349 to begin with. And we all know where we got to go from there. Still has all the AC equipment though, which is a really nice feature. Although it doesn't do anything except for block the wind on the radiator. I cleaned up the engine a little bit. Got the mechanical fuel pump down here, water pump. Got an Edelbrock Performer intake. I just bought the Edelbrock carb this year. Put on it 650. And nothing special. It needs a little bit bigger carb, I imagine. I could probably handle something bigger than that. Here's what I said, the AC. They put a more modern AC unit, or a alternator on it. And here is the old wiring harness. The red, white, and blue wires. There's red, white, and blue. There's the brown, which was to the charge indicator on in the dash. I just ran a wire from it down to the charging system, which is down. You know, I tried running it straight to the voltage regulator. Didn't like that. Wanted to flicker and different stuff when the engine was all the way off. So I thought charging system, okay, let's put it right down here. And there it is, and it works great. It comes on when it should, goes off when it should. Well, I'm finding out a lot of this old car work is rewiring. Well, at least on this one. Like I said, somebody dug into it and took it off the original harness, which really makes me mad, but at the same time they had to get it running and functional, and it's all functioning. Thing actually screams if you get it in the right condition. Picked the wheels up once. Does not have positive rear end. Got a 12 bolt GM rear end in it. I'm sure it's probably either just limited slip or just normal single side drive. What else? Oh, yeah, the exhaust. Did a little bit of work on it, and I don't know why they would put a 2.5 inch exhaust from the manifold back to the muffler, and then from the muffler that goes down to a 2 inch. I don't know why they would decrease the size of that as a part of it goes back in the car. I'm going to think because of the rust conditions on it that that would be original, but not necessarily so. I got the old G60s on the back. I'm sure the old schoolers will know what a G60 is, but for you youngsters, that tire size is no longer available. It just meant that it was an old street race tire. I'll show you what it looks like. There's the tread pattern. It's a pretty wide tire, a G60. Here's where I had to take the hitch off. See, I left that little plate on each side, and I had to split the seam down the back support on the frame. I had to split the seam off there. I just redid the straps on the tank. Had to get to the sending unit. Repaired it by the sending unit was actually held together pretty good. The only problem was the corrosion between the contact points were so severe it didn't register anymore. So I took those apart, sandblasted the little contacts, and sand a little bit on them, made them all real nice and shiny, and stamped them back together. It's one of those little washers with the splits that you just stamp on to hold something in place. I just re-stamped that on and started getting it. It was a 90 ohms. Technical information is It was a 90 ohm sending unit, registered about 2 ohms empty tank, and registered about 94 with a full tank. That it was factory original, I know, because that's where I found the build sheet. I'm sure somebody else would have taken it off there by now if they'd gotten to it. And the reason they hadn't gotten to it was because of this tow hitch that was on it. The thing was monster creative with, I would say at least 1/8 inch C-channel. Well, I could give you a view of that hitch, because that was something else. Cutting it off. Cutting it off wasn't the hard part. The hard part was they build it on the car. You know, weld a couple pieces, put another piece up, weld it. So it made some of the welds very difficult to get to take it off easily. There it is. There's what they made that out of. As you can see, that's pretty thick. But the way they constructed it was weld this spot on, weld that spot on, weld some more down here. And whoever welded it, yeah, they knew how to weld. Look at that seam. They know how to weld. So splitting those seams was no easy task, but it was done. I've been real pleased with all the performance of my tools. Love my compressor. Been a lifesaver. I got a backup one, but much smaller. Yeah, about time to do maintenance on that. The only thing I don't like about my compressor is that little tube right there. Yeah, that's supposed to stop the oil from coming out. It doesn't. It's a spray everywhere when the thing's running. I just keep a little rag over top of it and help it from coming out and going everywhere. There's the Donkey Kong machine. Played a couple games the other day. Been playing it regularly. What else is there? Oh, got me a 220 stick welder here. Little bitty thing. Probably doesn't take more than, well, what's that say on rod size there? Yep. So yeah, it probably doesn't take much more than, oh, I don't know, 5/16 rod. Seems to weld pretty good though if you stay down little rods, but I haven't tried anything bigger than that, I don't think. Been using this quite a bit on the restoration of the underside of this car. Never thought I would use sandblast equipment so much, but I sure have got my use out of that little Harbor Freight cabinet. I've got totally different organization in my garage probably since the last video I made, but this is more functional. This has been a hell of a saw. I used it for about 3 months with the I got this from Harbor Freight, with the metal cutting blade that came out of the box. But I was in a hurry one day and I threw some 2x4s up there, and that blade just was not designed for 2x4. So needless to say, I need to go get another one. But if you look at YouTube, all the videos and reviews on this machine, they say to throw that first blade out anyway, or keep it as a backup and buy the good blade and throw on there. Should have listened to them, but I'll just go buy a good blade and throw on it. Got a nice home stereo receiver in here. That's my little work area, I guess. Pretty dirty and cluttered right now. Really the reason I came out here, not to make a video, but to clean up a little bit. Still got some of my finishing products down there. Had several people wanting me to work on the vehicles. I've done that. What was the last thing I did? The last thing I did, my brother come down. He had a that 80s Chevy truck. Probably, I don't know if it was a C model or just what the hell version model that was. I know it was well, I'd say mid 80s, 86, 87 Chevy truck, 4-wheel drive. Had it down here. The passenger window was out, so we put a new glass in it. Got it back in the channel, so it crank up and down. The only problem is that the door is kind of screwed. That truck has a lot of issues. Set in a yard, uncovered in a yard, which is the worst condition. Worst thing you can do to a vehicle is not put a tarp. You know, people ask me about storing vehicle. The key to storing a vehicle is keep the moisture off the bottom of the car. You know, paint, windshields, seals, all those protect the outside of the car. For the most part, yeah, it'll get weathered. But underneath, all it does is water evaporate from the ground, goes up to the bottom of the car, sticks, gets warm out, evaporates off, or goes back down at nighttime, chills, settles all down as dew on them, and then comes back next day, sticks to the bottom of the car. That will rust the car. Sitting in grass, a grass field will rust the car fast. And it's not just that, but you know, there's dew on the ground almost everywhere. And there's my sole entertainment out here besides the Donkey Kong machine. Really, for me in a garage, that's too much entertainment, but you know, the garage is a garage. Come up with that little contraption there. I'm getting ready to take those off and build me a bigger table, move them down, mount another motor back here, and see if I can come up with some buffing wheels. And already got a start down there on hooking something up, but I just don't know what yet. There's all my welding stuff. There's all my clamps and my little Chicago wire flux welder, sticks, rods. There's my, I had a lot more down there. I used some of it today. I got cutting wheels down there, and there's a grinder down there, and a bunch of tools in that little box, and tools down in there, and wire brushes, and all the little tools to work on the tools. But let's see, the last 2 days I made a package tray for the back window and took that hitch off and fixed my fuel gauge. Here's the package tray. You probably can't see it too well through the glass, but it is vinyl. It has like a diamond pattern in it. There's my speakers, 6x9s in the back window, of course, old school style. I have them in there. But what I found out on these package trays is most of them are designed for not the lifted cone in the middle. See how it's got the middle cone in it? That's not old school. Old school was a flat speaker where it could be mounted flush on the upside like this underneath, and stuck with nothing above, just flush with. These have the little thing that comes up, so I did have to get in there and modify and cut out holes for them. So you see in the package tray, you can't really tell, but there's an edge in there. Not the best edge, not the finest job in the world, but it looks a lot better than bare metal sitting there. You know, here, look at this rust. Talk about some rust. That back window, see that seal plate right there on the back window? That is nothing but, it's green down there and rust up there. Green down there and more rust up there. There's, oh, like I said, there's some trim pieces missing. Here's one of the pieces. There is. An Oldsmobile emblem goes over top of that lock. I've got a lock to put on it. I don't have the trim piece. I was going to put the lock in it, but as you can see, somebody else has really messed with that lock hole. I know it has the 3 little nubs, one there, and one right there. You can see the nubs and you can feel them. But I don't know how well a lock will stay in there or not spin. Might have to plug that hole closed and re-drill. And so I've left that to be a project all to its own. I have new weather stripping in the trunk. The trunk, what do they call that right there? I want to say a sail pan, but I don't know if that's the right term for it. That pan, or that connector piece between the trunk and the back window. Same bunch of bells, all of them. It's a 70 Cutlass Supreme. Got a 70-some thousand miles on it. 73,813. And truthfully, I bought it with 72,000 on it, so I'm thinking, you know, could be 100, 200, 300,000. Put in my gauges down there. The problem I got with the oil pressure gauge is I got the old plastic tube lines, and it drips like crazy. You can see from down there, all that has come from oil, and I do leave a spot on the ground every now and then from just my oil pressure gauge. It's amazing. Oil comes right up that line and goes right into the gauge and starts dripping out the bottom of the gauge. Gauge still works good, just drips a lot. Oh, and these are my Aussie glasses. You see the rose-colored glasses. I might send those to Tommy Shoe. I think he'd look good in those. There's the glove box. Got a lot of shit in there, but as you can see, it's missing a knob, a locking mechanism. Like I said, I got the door to this ashtray. I do not have the little spring and everything that makes it go closed. I need to find a diagram on it. I have not yet tore off that seat cover on the bench. Truthfully, my plans on this car, and I don't care if it takes 5 years or 10 years, it doesn't matter to me, is I'm going to put an M21, buckets, console, and see if I can find me a 12-volt GM posi rear end. I don't think this one is posi. I could be wrong. I just know that when I do get on it and I stomp on it, the passenger side will smoke its ass off, and this side over here doesn't do really crap. I haven't seen it leave any marks on the ground, but then again, I don't stomp on it that often, so I don't really know. I got new rims, tires to go on it, but that'll make it off original, and I am going to go toward original, not away from. My son, he thinks I should pull off all the trim. He thinks all this trim pieces should be, a lime green, you know, that popping fluorescent green. He thinks I should take all the trim off, paint all that green, paint the car black, put green as super sport stripes on it, and paint, you know, that trim right there all be green. And I thought, well, yeah, you know, that green, but look, the whole interior's green, hunter green. And why would I put that kind of green and a hunter green and a black together? But if you go back to the build sheet, it was, what was the color of this car? It was dark metallic green, I believe. Let's see what the build sheet does say on that. LP pads is green. Steering column color is green. There's the top. You see the top right there? It says white. Dirt on my thumb. It says white top, so it had a white rag top. Like I said, the halo top on it. And where is the color specification on the car? Here's what I just fixed, the 573 fuel gauge. There's the AC compressor. IP pads. Don't know. Here, speedo gear and adapter. DRM-35 orange. But that wasn't what I was looking for. Here's all the options that this car was ordered with. As you can see, right rear quarter lamps, AR backing plate, visor and vanity, sport RV, mirrors, plain axle 2.56, bunch of lamps, white vinyl top was option C08, bench notch seats, wood instrument panels, tinted glass, carpeting, floor mats, drip band, belts, grip edges, white vinyl top, recessed WW, I have no idea, air conditioning, right rear quarter lamps. Yeah, you can see that steering wheel was wood. That's not original to the car. It has a sports steering wheel on it. So, I don't know, a lot of options there. I've been making a whole lot of videos, but I've been staying real busy. Went in and had a, well, you know, getting older. I had a lot of toothache, so the old lady talked me into going and getting all my teeth pulled. So I did that, and I've been dealing with that. And to this day, I can't close my mouth entirely together, so gum against gum. Doctor says my muscles will finally go that way sometime in the future, but till then, don't expect too much. So I don't eat a whole lot of hard foods, things that hurt my gums, and they'll build up after a while. Anybody who's had their teeth pulled goes through the same thing, but makes something a lot of people talk about. Yeah, I put the little stickers on there. My buddies, my high school friends that I went to high school with, that we all, you know, when I was in high school, my badass car was a Pontiac 71 Pontiac Ventura. Loved that car to death. Looked just like a Nova. Couldn't really, everybody, hey, you got your Nova? No, I don't have a Nova. I got a Pontiac Ventura. And I saw you driving a Nova the other day. Yeah, you did. Okay. So somebody come up and said, hey, you've been driving your brown Nova? Yeah. Even though it was Pontiac Ventura, yeah. Been driving my brown Nova around. Oh, since then I've had a lot of cars. Oh, the one car that I really wish I'd never gotten rid of. I had a '69 Dodge Coronet RT. Had it when I was young. Didn't know what I had. Got rid of it for, I think I bought it for $800. I tinkered around with it for a while, and I sold it for $5. Yeah, $500 on a car that's worth today. Hard telling how much that car would be worth today. But yeah, been pretty busy. Just a little update, let everybody know that I ain't dead and nothing like that. I comment on quite a few videos. Haven't been doing that even recently. I've been watching a lot of videos. Oh, and yeah, there's something for some old school stuff. There, took that out of that cart. It was sitting in the back. It says you open the trunk. Everybody knows what that is, so I ain't even gonna talk about it. So I had to hang some of my tools, some of my better tools, and as you can see, even hanging them, I got one dozen. I'm pretty sure it's around here somewhere, but yep. This car's gonna end up being something totally different than what it is right now. So, I priced out the parts to redo the whole interior. Is about $1,400. That's carpet, sail panels, package tray, back seat, front seat, door panels, back panels, side panels, kick panels. The only thing that wasn't included in that was the dash, and I'm sure that they have replacement dashes for, I would guess, a couple $100. So less than $2,000, you can redo the entire inside of a vintage muscle car. So you know why sometimes they price these cars at $20,000, is you can put that into them easy. When I bought this car, and you can see the video on my webpage, it literally looked like crap. If somebody saw it as a muscle car, I don't see how, because it was beige with Rust-Oleum spray bomb on it and blah blah blah. So I decided to at least take it to the next step and get some decent paint on there. And even though, like I said, I ain't cutting buff nothing, you can see overspray, you can see shiny spot here, you can see, oh, let's see, look at all that clear on that side right there, but look at over here. Oh my God, look at the overspray. The dirt, different stuff in that paint. doesn't matter. You know, to me it doesn't matter right now. That'll probably all get stripped off before it's all said and done. I know as soon as I do that windshield, that right there is going to be a project, doing all that, and all the induction. It's not really cowl. I guess that would be a cowl hood, and what, a 1/4-inch cowl hood or something on it. Like I said, I'm going to get into this build sheet and see what's supposed to be on the car and what's on the car, and find out the differences and price them, and go back to closer and closer to factory until I get her there. I guess that's going to be it for now. Just a little, Tommy is with his words of wisdom, so here's my little word of wisdom, because I'm going to show you something that happened to me. I was outside working on my truck right next to the garage, right about in there, which is just, a couple steps around the door. The garage door was open, but I didn't bother to open it all the way. I thought 5 foot, and I just ducked my head underneath there and go around and do what I had to do. Well, I'm thinking, oh, my compressor's running, and they're running, and I ain't even been using it, so I'm gonna go in here, hurry up, and go in here and turn that off. I run in here, and as soon as I hit around that corner, bam! I saw stars, because that door was only at 5.5 foot, and I can tell you, I'm a 6-footer. But here, I'm gonna show you the little thing I got on my head. I don't know if you can see that, but right there is a hell of a spot. And you know what? It made me sit down. I'm a big boy, but it made me sit down. They talk about those birds that you see. I didn't see no birds, but I did see stars. It was like, made me sit down. But anyway, I'm going to let you go with that. I thought it was kind of funny. I will be getting more into this as I progress. Right now I got it. It's totally drivable. The underside, let's see if I can. It's lighting very good, but I'm gonna try to crawl. I have had different problems underneath, but right now she does not leak a drop, and I like it that way. The only problem I see with the car is when I first start her up, I throw some water out the tailpipe. I don't know if that's a head gasket or not. Head crack, I don't know. I've not dug into the engine yet. The only thing I've done is taken some valve covers off and made sure that the push rods and rocker arms were adjusted right. Preloaded them, turn the engine a little bit by hand, make sure that the lifter was on its low spot on the cam. Then I adjusted my rocker arms and push rods so that I didn't have no clatter, no slack, stuff like that. I was always told as a youngster it's better to have a little bit of slack and let them slap a little bit than to over tighten them. So that's just the way that I've been taught from a long time ago, and that's the way I've been doing it. I don't preload 1/2 or 3/4 of a turn. I turn down to 0 lash and tighten them down. Other than that, that's what I'm getting ready to do next. A couple of spots on the car that I was disappointed in. The radiator. I had a problem. I kept the thing. I'd go out and I'd, throw it through a 1/4 mile or something, and my temperatures would get real high. And I'm thinking, what the hell, is my pump going out? I might need a new water pump. Well, then, as the car's getting warmer, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, boy, I better drive around and make this thing cooler. And it wasn't getting no cooler. Started getting a little bit. It started approaching up to 250, 275, and I started thinking about turning the car off. Well, right about then, my transmission started doing some crazy shit. Not shifting, slipping in third, doing all kinds of crazy crap. So I turned the engine off, let it settle down, turned it back on. Now I'm worried about the transmission more than I am about the temperature of the car. So I turned the car on, check out the transmission. Transmission's leaking. I went down there, and the little shift solenoid down there was working its way out of the transmission. There's a hold down bracket with a bolt on it. That bolt was actually working its way out from vibration, and I started to get a little leak right there. The transmission started to leak. So I put the solenoid back in there, tightened that little bolt down, topped her off with some tranny fluid, went out and driving her, and sure as shit, temperature shot right up, started shifting all crazy. You know, see, this is crazy. I fixed that, right, and I know that that's the proper way to put that in there. Check my vacuum line. You know, it's a vacuum TH400, which means that vacuum runs up to the intake manifold. That's all it wants, intake manifold pressure. Right, so I checked that line, blew it out, made sure there wasn't no clogs in it, ran a wire down through it. No problem with that whatsoever. Hooked that all back up, you know, still wasn't that crazy. But then I noticed my temperature was rising again. Well, all that bullshit, all of it, and well, I can't say the bolt working out from vibrations and a little leak that was happening, but all the other bullshit was created by, you guessed it, a sticky thermostat. Change thermostat, car runs like a champ. Runs like a dream. I've been thinking, actually, the car runs so nice, I've been thinking about jacking that timing up a little bit, if everybody knows what I mean. But at the same time, I don't want to ride her too hard. Like I said, I just pulled the valve covers off for now. I know that in the morning, when first time I start this car up, boom, blows I'd say a puddle about that big around of water on the ground. But, you know, it's got turn downs on the end. You know, blows about that big of water. You know, which makes me think, water collects overnight, so it's got a small leak somewhere, a gasket or something like that. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know how much water would collect in those pipes overnight. You know, I ain't, from that little bit of water, I'm not going to worry about no hydro locking yet, so I'm going to let everybody go for now. It's a long video, and for me to upload is going to take forever. I'll let you know on the other projects I got going on, but this is my main baby right here. And like I said, that chrome piece right there, just that little strip from there, over there, and going down, and over there, and over there, and over $147 a pair. So fixing up these cars, if you want them nice, yeah, it's gonna cost you some money. Other than that, I gotta go. Peace, everybody. Let's see who I've been watching. 57 Chevy. I've been watching his videos. I've been watching Tom Shoe. I watched the Carmen Gia go down to Florida and where was that? Yeah, down to Florida. And I watched it come back, and all the little push start, and I think that was pretty good. I like Greg's videos. Let's see what else I got. Who else? Well, I have taken up airbrushing as a hobby. So I watch SK Brush, excellent airbrush, but SK is Germany. Just a shout out to a couple people that I like their videos. Peace, everybody. Stay cool.